Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we like to explore ideas that can honestly, change the way you see the world.
Absolutely.
And today, we are diving into the Bhagavad Gita,
Oh, yes.
which is this ancient Indian text that offers some really profound insights, I think, into the nature of ourselves,
Yeah.
action, and even the path to ultimate liberation.
Yeah, it's really like a roadmap
It is.
to genuine happiness and freedom.
And trust me, it's way more relatable and relevant than you might think.
For sure.
Even if you're still in high school.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if this episode sparks something in you,
Yeah.
please don't keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
Share it with your friends, your family, maybe even that teacher who always asks those big life questions.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, like, why are we here?
Yeah, exactly.
What's it all about?
What's it all about? What is the meaning of life?
Exactly. And it's amazing how, these teachings from thousands of years ago still resonate so deeply with people today.
I know, it's crazy.
And, we're going to break it all down in a way that makes sense, even if you're just starting to explore these ideas.
For sure.
So,
Okay, so let's just dive right in.
let's do it.
Have you ever felt that nagging sense that you're on this treadmill of chasing happiness?
Oh, yeah.
Good grades, popularity, that new phone,
Mm-hmm.
but it never seems to last.
Yeah, you get it. You get the new phone,
Oh.
and then a week later there's a newer one. You're like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
I gotta have that one.
I need the upgrade.
Yes, exactly.
So the Bhagavad Gita addresses this head on with this idea of conditioned consciousness.
Yes.
And you might be surprised to learn that the Gita encourages us to detach even from our achievements and even our physical bodies
Mhm.
to find true happiness.
Yeah, it's a radical idea in a way.
It is.
It really challenges how we often define ourselves.
Especially in a world that's all about external validation.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
social media,
I
the
know.
like,
Totally.
all of this is external validation.
So it's like we're playing a game with the wrong set of rules. If those external things don't truly define us
Right.
or bring us lasting happiness,
Yeah.
then who are we really?
That is the million-dollar question.
It is.
The Gita says that our true nature is spiritual.
Okay.
It's eternal and connected to something much greater.
Okay.
The Gita calls true liberation mukti,
Mukti.
and it comes from recognizing this spiritual self.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a big shift in perspective.
Huge shift.
I love that the Gita uses this powerful analogy of a drowning man clinging to his clothes.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, dude, let go of the clothes. They're dragging you down.
Right.
Focus on saving yourself.
Exactly.
It's so true.
That's such a vivid image.
Isn't it?
You can just picture it.
Yeah. So the Gita is saying that, clinging to external appearances
Yeah.
and material possessions keeps us trapped in a cycle of desire and disappointment.
Yes.
And prevents us from seeing our true potential,
Right.
you know?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But okay.
If we're not just our physical bodies and material things, do our actions even matter?
That's a great question.
Can we just do whatever we want without consequence?
This is where the concept of karma comes in, which
Okay.
you've probably heard of.
Okay.
It's not just like this, what goes around comes around kind of thing.
Mhm.
It's a little bit more nuanced than that.
Okay.
The Gita's concept of karma is that every action creates a reaction.
Okay.
And these actions, these karmic imprints, can keep us bound to this cycle of birth and death.
Oh.
It's like a ripple effect. You
Oh.
throw a pebble in the water and it creates these ripples.
It goes on and on.
And on and on, yeah. And that's kind of what our actions do.
So.
They create these karmic ripples.
So how do we act in a way that doesn't create that negative karma
Right.
that leads to more freedom and happiness?
Well, the Gita actually outlines different paths to liberation.
Okay.
But before we get into that, I think it's helpful to look at the story of Arjuna, who is a warrior facing this moral dilemma on the battlefield.
Oh my gosh.
He's about to fight his own relatives, and he is completely torn about what to do.
I can only imagine that internal struggle.
Yeah.
He's facing a serious moral crisis.
Oh, absolutely.
What does the Gita tell him to do?
Well, Arjuna's charioteer Krishna, who represents the divine,
Okay.
explains that Arjuna's duty, his dharma, is to fight.
Okay.
And this is crucial.
Yeah.
He shouldn't be attached to the outcome.
Okay. Can you give us a more concrete understanding of Dharma?
Sure.
What does that look like in our daily lives?
Dharma can be thought of as your unique purpose,
Oh.
your right action.
Okay.
It's about aligning yourself with what's true and good,
Right.
fulfilling your responsibilities with integrity and a sense of service.
Okay.
It could be as simple as being a good student,
Mm-hmm.
a supportive friend, or a caring family member.
I see how that connects to acting without attachment to the results.
Exactly.
So it's not about being passive, but about acting with a certain kind of detachment.
Yes.
So it's like a more of a mindful action.
Exactly. It's acting with awareness.
Okay.
The Gita emphasizes this detachment, this freedom from needing a specific outcome,
Yeah.
is key to breaking free from that cycle of karma and moving toward liberation.
So how do we break free from this cycle? Is there like a step-by-step guide?
Right.
You mentioned that the Gita outlines different paths to liberation.
It does.
Can you tell them more about that?
Well, there are a few paths the Gita highlights.
Yeah.
Karma yoga,
Okay.
jnana yoga,
Okay.
and bhakti yoga.
Got it. And each of these offer a different approach to achieving that liberation.
Exactly.
Okay, this is fascinating.
Yeah.
But I'm curious about how those paths differ. Can you tell us briefly about karma yoga and jnana yoga and how they contrast with bhakti yoga?
Sure. So karma yoga is the path of selfless action.
Okay.
It's all about acting with that detachment we talked about.
Right.
Contributing to something larger than yourself. Fulfilling your duties without getting caught up in personal gain or recognition.
That sounds really challenging,
It can be.
especially in a world that often emphasizes individual achievement.
Absolutely. Yeah, very much so. But it's definitely a practice,
Okay.
a process of refining your intentions and actions.
Mm.
Now, jnana yoga is the path of knowledge and wisdom.
Okay.
It involves deep study, contemplation, and self-reflection to gain a profound understanding of the true nature of reality and the self.
So it's like a deep dive into the nature of existence.
Yes, exactly.
That sounds pretty intense.
It can be a challenging path, but also incredibly rewarding for those who are drawn to the intellectual exploration and seeking profound truths.
Okay, and what about bhakti yoga?
Yeah.
That's the one we hear a lot about.
Bhakti yoga is the path of devotion and love
Right.
for the divine.
Love it.
It's about cultivating this deep connection with the divine, which the Gita often refers to as Krishna.
Okay, so this idea of bhakti yoga and Krishna consciousness is really interesting to me. Can you tell me more about what that actually looks like in practice?
Yeah, so the Gita highlights bhakti yoga,
Okay.
specifically focusing on Krishna consciousness
Mhm.
as like this very direct path to ultimate peace and happiness.
Okay.
Think of it as a state of being where your awareness is constantly connected to Krishna, the divine.
Goodbye.
It's about living your life with this sense of love, devotion, and service to a higher purpose.
That metaphor about the tree and its reflection is really striking.
Oh, yeah.
Can you elaborate on how that relates to our search for fulfillment?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So imagine a tree and its reflection in a pool of water.
Okay.
The reflected tree looks real,
Yeah.
right? But it's just an image.
Right.
The Gita says the material world with all of its fleeting pleasures and pursuits is like that reflection.
Oh.
It's a temporary illusion.
Wow.
The real tree, the source of lasting fulfillment, is the spiritual world, the realm of Krishna consciousness.
Wow, that's a powerful image.
It is.
So it's about shifting our focus from the fleeting reflection to the eternal source.
It's exactly.
This is all incredibly inspiring. But let's be real for a second.
Okay.
What about those inner obstacles?
Yes.
Those things that keep us from actually living these teachings. I mean, we all struggle with like negative thoughts, challenging emotions, bad habits.
How you do.
You know,
We're human.
the Gita doesn't shy away from addressing those challenges, does it?
Not at all.
It talks about desires, anger, and greed as three gates to hell that hold us back from spiritual growth.
Yes.
Oof, that sounds intense.
It's a little intense.
I guess we can all relate to struggling with those things.
Oh, absolutely.
Can you give some real-world examples of how these inner enemies show up in our lives, especially for young people?
Yeah, of course. So think about that impulse to buy the latest gadget.
Oh, yeah.
Even if you can't really afford it, that's desire taking the reins.
Yes.
Or snapping at your parents or siblings because you're stressed about a test.
Mm-hmm.
That's anger hijacking your better judgment.
Totally.
And greed can manifest as, constantly comparing yourself to others. Always feeling like you don't have enough, or even being willing to cheat to get ahead.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I can definitely see how those gates to hell are pretty relevant to my life.
Absolutely.
Can we actually overcome these inner enemies?
That's the good news. The Gita offers a resounding yes.
Okay, good.
It teaches that through self-control, detaching from material desires, and focusing on a higher purpose, like we talked about with Krishna consciousness, we can absolutely conquer these obstacles.
So how do we connect with this higher purpose, especially if we are still young and like figuring things out?
Yeah.
Is it about renouncing the world and becoming a monk or something?
Not at all. The Gita offers some very practical steps based on its teachings.
Okay, break that down for me.
Yeah.
What does that look like in practice, especially for someone like me who is still in school and trying to balance a million things?
Okay, so
Yeah.
hearing, it's called sravanam.
Ravana.
It means regularly exposing yourself to spiritual wisdom.
Okay.
That could be listening to podcasts like this one, reading inspiring books or articles,
Mm-hmm.
attending talks or workshops, or even just having meaningful conversations with people who inspire you.
I like that. So it's about finding ways to expose yourself to these ideas.
Exactly.
What about remembering? What does that mean in the context of Krishna consciousness?
So remembering, or smaranam,
Smartanam.
means keeping Krishna and his teachings at the forefront of your mind throughout the day.
Okay.
It could be as simple as setting reminders on your phone
Oh, I like that.
with inspiring quotes,
Yeah.
or even just having a small image of something that represents the divine that
Right.
you look at regularly.
Yeah.
It's about finding little ways to stay connected.
That's really helpful.
Yeah,
It's like creating little reminders to stay aligned with those teachings.
exactly.
What about serving? What does that look like in the context of Krishna consciousness,
Mm,
especially for someone who might not have a lot of time or resources?
yeah. So serving, or sevanam,
7?
is about engaging in acts of selfless service, both to others and to the world at large.
Mhm.
It could be volunteering your time at a local charity,
Yeah.
helping a classmate who's struggling,
Right.
being kind to your family,
Yeah.
or even just being more mindful of your actions and their impact on others.
Right.
It's about recognizing that we're all interconnected.
Okay. I understand the concept of detachment,
Yeah.
but letting go of outcomes completely feels quite challenging.
It is challenging.
How do we balance that with our natural desire to achieve goals, especially in school or in our personal lives?
That's a great point. It's not about becoming indifferent or giving up on your goals altogether.
Okay.
It's more about shifting your perspective.
How so?
Imagine setting your sights on a goal,
Okay.
putting in your best effort,
Mhm.
but then letting go of the need to control the outcome.
So it's about finding that sweet spot between effort and surrender.
Exactly.
It's about trusting that things will unfold as they should,
Okay.
even if it's not exactly how you envisioned it.
That doesn't mean you become passive or stop striving.
Right.
It means you find a sense of peace in the process, regardless of the result.
This is resonating with me.
Good.
It's not about escaping the world,
No.
but about living in it with a transformed consciousness,
Yeah.
a different set of lenses.
Beautifully put.
Thank you.
It's about bringing that Krishna consciousness, that awareness of the divine, into every aspect of your life, your relationships, your schoolwork, even how you spend your free time.
This has been incredible.
It's a beautiful teaching.
It's amazing how these ancient teachings feel so fresh and applicable to our lives today.
It is.
And don't worry, we're just getting started.
Just scratching the surface.
Make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss the next part of our exploration, where we'll delve even deeper into the Gita's wisdom and practical guidance for living a more fulfilling life.
Yes.
We'll be back soon with part 2.
Looking forward to it.
And if this episode resonated with you
Yeah.
and you're looking for more support on your journey,
Mm.
we would love to connect with you.
Yes.
You can visit our website at www.ultimatemasters.org/coaching
Mm-hmm.
or reach out to us on WhatsApp at +256 771 324 119.
Awesome.
We are here to help.
Always here.
So until next time, keep seeking,
Yes.
keep growing,
Keep growing.
and keep those hearts open
open.
to the infinite possibilities that life has to offer.
Beautiful.
And we will-
See you soon.
Sounds good. It's fascinating how the Gita doesn't shy away from the reality of these internal battles we all face, isn't it?
Really?
Yeah.
Totally. It's not just about lofty spiritual concepts, you
Right.
know?
Right.
It gets real about the struggles that we deal with every single day.
Every day, yeah.
And it doesn't just tell us to be good. It actually gives us like practical tools
Yeah.
for dealing with those negative thoughts and emotions.
Tools and techniques, absolutely.
I love that one
Yeah.
of the core teachings is this idea of self-control,
Yes.
dharma in Sanskrit. And it's
Yeah.
not about suppressing your emotions.
But about mastering, becoming the ruler of your inner kingdom, so to speak.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's about like recognizing those emotions as they arise,
Right.
but not letting them control you.
Okay.
You become the master of those emotions.
So instead of being tossed around by the waves of desire, anger, or greed,
Mm-hmm.
we learn to surf them.
Yes.
We become more skilled at navigating those challenging emotions.
I love that analogy. That's a great analogy.
Thank you.
Yeah, and this mastery, the self-control, is cultivated through practice.
Well,
The Gita emphasizes that it's a journey,
it's not a destination.
not a destination. You don't have to be perfect overnight.
It's reassuring to know that even the ancient yogis acknowledge that this is ongoing work.
It is. Yeah, it's a lifelong process.
Okay, so self-control is one key.
Mm-hmm.
What are some other tools the Gita offers for overcoming these inner obstacles?
Well, we already talked about the importance of detachment,
Yeah.
but it's worth emphasizing again. The more we cling to material possessions and outcomes, the more we're feeding those inner enemies.
It's like they thrive on that attachment, right?
They
And
do.
the more we're attached to things going a certain way, the more we suffer when they don't.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Clinging and attachment are the root of so much suffering.
That's so true.
When we can let go of that need to control everything, when we can accept what is with grace and surrender, we weaken the grip of those desires, that anger, that greed.
That makes sense. But detaching from material things is one thing.
Right.
Detaching from the outcome of our actions, that feels a bit trickier.
Yeah,
I mean, we all have goals and dreams.
of course.
How do we even begin to detach from those?
The Gita suggests shifting our focus from
Yeah.
what do I get out of this to
Uh-huh.
how can I serve?
Interesting.
When we act with a sense of purpose, with the desire to contribute to something larger than ourselves, we naturally become less fixated on specific results.
So it's about finding that higher motivation, that sense of service that fuels our actions.
Exactly. It's about aligning ourselves with a purpose that transcends our personal desires.
Okay, I like that.
It's about connecting to something more meaningful.
And that's where Krishna consciousness comes in again, right?
Yes.
It's not just a philosophy, it's like a way of life,
A way of being.
a way of being in the world that helps us overcome those inner obstacles and move towards liberation.
Exactly. It's about integrating those teachings, self-control, detachment service into the fabric of our lives.
Okay, this is all so inspiring,
Hmm.
but how do we even know if we're on the right path?
Right.
What are some signs that we're actually making progress toward liberation, toward this Krishna consciousness?
Yeah, that's a good question. The Gita offers some really clear indicators, and
Sure.
they're more about inner qualities than external achievements.
Oh, interesting.
So, for example, a person progressing on this path often experiences a growing sense of inner peace and contentment.
Okay.
They're less bothered by the ups and downs of life, less reactive to external circumstances.
So it's not about becoming emotionless or indifferent.
No, not at all. It's about cultivating a deeper sense of equanimity.
Equanimity.
Yes, a stability that comes from connecting to your true self, to that inner source of peace that's always available, regardless of what's happening around you.
So in a way, it's about becoming more present, more grounded,
Mm.
more centered in the midst of life's chaos.
Thanks, precisely. And this inner stability naturally leads to a greater sense of compassion and kindness towards others.
Okay.
You're less likely to judge or criticize, less likely to get caught up in drama or conflict.
So basically, we become more enjoyable to be around.
Uh-huh. Well, that's a nice side effect.
Right.
But more importantly, it reflects a genuine shift in consciousness, a movement away from that ego-driven, me-centered perspective towards a more expansive, heart-centered awareness.
I could see how that would ripple outwards, creating more harmonious relationships.
Yeah.
So it's not just about personal liberation, it's about contributing to a more peaceful and harmonious world.
That's beautifully said. True liberation encompasses both personal transformation and positive contributions to the world around us.
I love that.
They're intertwined, inseparable.
This is giving me so much to think about.
Good.
It feels empowering to know that we have the capacity to create such positive change, both within ourselves and in the world.
We do. We absolutely do. It's a truly transformative journey, and it's accessible to anyone who's willing to make the effort.
Okay, this is all sinking in, but I have one more burning question.
Okay.
How do we reconcile the Gita's teachings on nonviolence
Yeah.
with the fact that the whole story is set against the backdrop of a war?
Right.
It's a bit of a head scratcher.
That's a question that's puzzled many readers throughout history,
I bet.
and it's an important one to address. What's fascinating here is that the Gita isn't advocating for violence in a general sense.
Right.
It's addressing a very specific situation where Arjuna as a warrior is facing a conflict that's unavoidable.
So it's not giving us a free pass to go around picking fights or anything?
Definitely not. The Gita emphasizes that violence should always be a last resort,
Okay.
only used when all other options have been exhausted.
So in Arjuna's case, he tried everything to avoid the war, but it was inevitable.
Exactly. And even then, Krishna emphasizes that Arjuna shouldn't fight with anger or hatred in his heart.
Right.
He should act with detachment, focusing on fulfilling his duty, his dharma, without getting caught up in winning or losing.
This is where it gets a bit mind-bending, right?
Yeah.
How can you fight a war without any anger or hatred.
Right.
Seems almost impossible.
It's definitely a challenging concept,
Yeah.
but the Gita is pointing to a deeper truth, that true nonviolence begins in the heart and mind.
So it's about cultivating a state of inner peace, even in the midst of external conflict.
Precisely. And that inner peace, that detachment from the fruits of our actions, is what allows us to act with clarity and wisdom, even in the most difficult situations.
That makes me think about those times when I've reacted out of anger or frustration. It never leads to anything good.
No.
It just creates more negativity.
We've all been there.
Totally.
The Gita is reminding us that true strength lies in responding, not reacting. It's about choosing a more skillful path, even when it's challenging.
So going back to Arjuna, he's ultimately fighting a battle on two fronts.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
There's the external battle on the battlefield, but there's also this internal battle within himself
Yeah.
to overcome those negative emotions and act from a place of dharma.
That's a profound insight.
I try.
And in a way, that's the battle we're all fighting. The battlefield might look different for each of us, but the challenge is the same: to cultivate those inner qualities of peace, compassion, and wisdom so that we can navigate the challenges of life with grace and skill.
It's incredibly empowering to realize that we have the power to choose our response.
We do.
Regardless of the situation.
Yeah.
We're not victims of circumstance. We're creators of our own reality.
That's the essence of the Gita's message. It's a call to action, an invitation to step into our full potential, to live a life guided by dharma, by purpose, by a deep connection to the divine.
This entire deep dive into the Bhagavad Gita has been truly eye-opening. It's given me a new perspective on how to approach life's challenges and find true happiness.
It's been a joy to explore these profound teachings with you.
And a huge thank you to all our listeners for joining us on this incredible journey. We hope you found it as enriching and inspiring as we did.
Remember, the wisdom of the Gita is always available to guide us.
And if you'd like to dive even deeper into these teachings and receive personalized guidance on your own path to liberation, we encourage you to check out www.ultimatemasters.org/coaching or reach out to us on WhatsApp at +2 567 713 24119.
We're here to support you every step of the way.
Until next time, keep seeking, keep growing, and keep those hearts open to the infinite possibilities that life has to offer.
And may the wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita continue to illuminate your path.